So, the mysterious disappearance of Chelsea Grimm, well, it started as a simple trip to a wedding, but one refusal at the airport kicked off a chain of events that just defies understanding. Cameras caught her attempts to pay with foreign currency, along with strange conversations about changing her name. However, what really brings a chill comes down to exactly how she left her car, what she took with her into the wilderness, compared to what she decided to leave behind. It creates a paradox that makes your blood run cold. Also, the fact revealed when police examine the vehicle's interior will make you rethink everything you knew about human logic. Hi everyone, I'm Tom. Let's not drag this out. Just write, what city do you come from? What time do you have right now? How does the weather look? Also, tell me your favorite season. The story of the mysterious disappearance of 32-year-old Chelsea Grimm from San Diego, California, stands as more than just a chronicle of events. It serves as a slow descent into anxiety that deeply shook her family, friends, local authorities too. What started as a standard, even joyful trip across the country for a friend's wedding in Connecticut suddenly took a sharp, illogical, ultimately extremely dangerous turn. September 24th, 2023 marks the starting point. That day, Chelsea left her home in San Diego. At that moment, nothing seemed to foreshadow trouble. Let's be honest here, the initial plan looked perfect. Chelsea intended to fly to Connecticut. That makes sense, right? When it comes to travel from the West Coast to the East, a plane remains the #1 choice. It saves time, energy, nerves. However, a factor we often underestimate came into play: the butterfly effect. A small detail that breaks everything. For Chelsea, this obstacle came in the form of her beloved bearded dragon named Roxy. Airlines, as it turned out, have their own strict rules. They categorically refuse to let the lizard on board. Right here, we see the moment that changes fate. This bureaucratic refusal forced Chelsea to make an impulsive decision at the last minute. Instead of a few hours in a comfortable plane seat, thousands of miles behind the wheel of a car across the entire country. Why? Because she felt determined not to leave Roxy behind. She wanted her pet by her side at this wedding in Connecticut. It feels touching, certainly, but from a logistics perspective, it started as a nightmare. Chelsea's mother, Janet, described this change of plans quite directly. She recalled, quote, "She originally planned to fly, but since she had recently acquired a bearded dragon, the airlines wouldn't let her take the animal on the plane. She called to say, 'I'm going to drive across the country.' Pay attention to the preparation here." Chelsea added, "I packed the car, I have a tent, I have a sleeping bag, I can spend a couple of nights in a hotel, maybe I'll camp, we'll see how it goes." The phrase, "we'll see how it goes," sounds particularly alarming. It represents not a clear plan of an experienced traveler, it signifies improvisation. Her father later noted an important detail that adds context. Chelsea hadn't gone camping since her teenage years. So, we have a woman who suddenly decides to sleep in a tent in the middle of the wilderness without fresh experience. This plan wasn't just unusual, it carried risk from the very start. The first stage of her nearly 3,000-mile odyssey brought Chelsea to Phoenix, Arizona. There, she met up with a friend on September 27th. Here, the math starts working against her. At that point, 3 days of travel had passed. 3 days! Yet Chelsea had covered only about 400 miles. Think about that for a second. San Diego to Phoenix takes roughly 5 or 6 hours of pure driving. Chelsea stretched this over 3 days. What did she do all that time? Why move so slowly if she rushed to a wedding? This already served as the first red flag. She wasn't driving, she was wandering. During this short stretch, she stayed in touch with her parents. They monitored her progress, trying to understand her chaotic plans. On September 27th, 3 days after starting, a key conversation took place. Her mom, Janet, remembers, "We last spoke on the 27th in the afternoon. She said, 'I won't make it to Connecticut for the wedding, so I guess I'll go camping for a couple of days.'" Imagine the disappointment, the confusion. The trip, the whole reason for this, got canceled by Chelsea herself. She simply gave up. Then came a phrase that today sounds like a sentence. She warned she would be offline. Her parents didn't give this much weight, knowing mobile signal often disappears in the desert regions of Arizona. To them, it seemed like a technical issue, not a goodbye. That same day, Chelsea checked into a hotel in Seligman, Arizona. Right here, the story stops being just a tale about a failed trip. It turns into a real psychological thriller. Surveillance cameras at the hotel recorded behavior difficult to explain rationally. Chelsea didn't just want to rest. She showed a desire to disappear, to stay off the grid. The weirdest thing happened at the front desk, though. She asked about paying in euros. Euros? In a small motel in the middle of Arizona? This isn't just strange, it signals deep disorientation or a break from reality. The United States does not accept European currency. Chelsea should have understood this perfectly. Add to this her conversations about changing her name, so we get a picture of a person who perhaps was running not to a wedding, but away from herself. This wasn't the Chelsea her friends anymore. Shortly after talking to her mother, Chelsea canceled lunch with the same friend she saw earlier. She cut ties one by one. However, the most important, perhaps most tragic moment occurred the next day, September 28th. This represented the last chance for rescue. Footage from a police officer's body camera near Williams, Arizona, shows us Chelsea on the edge. It all started with a call from a vigilant citizen. Someone saw a suspicious person in a vehicle near a military memorial, so they called the cops. When officers arrived, they found Chelsea in the car. Next to her sat Roxy, her silent companion. The interaction with the officer felt tense. Chelsea explained her presence by saying she supposedly worked on a photo project dedicated to missing soldiers. Sounds noble, but in the context of her behavior, somewhat unexpected. This conversation triggered a storm of emotions in her. She cried. She looked vulnerable. The policeman saw a distressed woman before him, but he didn't see a threat. She said she just tried to pull herself together before driving on. They believed her. They let her go. That became the last time anyone saw her alive on camera.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I just was doing a photo shoot of the lost soldiers and got a little emotional, so I was crying before I got...
I'm just making sure someone called it in, so...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're quite all right. I mean...
I was just doing a photo shoot, yeah. Packed up. I'm going to leave soon.
Okay.
But I just didn't want to drive like that. Sad.
I got you. You've been smoking a little bit of marijuana?
Earlier today, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have your license on you by any chance?
Yeah.
It gets me all emotional, too.
Yeah, it's just, I'm trying to do a series on the lost and the forgotten people in this country.
I know you told me that you smoked marijuana and you're kind of... Well, obviously, I would be in an emotional state as well. I don't know if you want somebody else to drive you or if you just want to hang out here for a little bit longer. You're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, if it's okay with you,
Yeah.
If I hang out here for another like 15 or 20 and then head on the road, that would be my plan,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, I don't see any signs of impairment or anything like that, so...
Yeah, no, with my eyesight and then crying, it's not the best combination at night.
Dude, I totally
I was like,
understand.
I'm just gonna like cry on the road, or I'm just gonna sit here and cry. So I
got
have
you.
my dragon, and I'm just.
Oh, that's freaking cool! I didn't even notice that.
Thanks, Rosie.
Wow, Rosie,
I think she's asleep.
Wow, right on.
She got bored.
Yeah. Do you have like a hotel around here or anything?
I don't. I was actually thinking of just camping for the night, but I wasn't really sure exactly yet.
Gotcha. Well,
I didn't plan to be here until sunset.
Okay, you can't camp in the city limits. It's kind of like a city statute we have.
Okay, good to know.
But you can always go. I don't know if you can see like the yellow lights over there, the Loves. It's a trucker stop in the gas station area. You can just sleep there. Nobody will bother you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yes.
I get some good shots at sunrise too there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sunrise here too. If you ever want to take photo shoots of like the statues in the morning, dude, it's really cool because the sun like rises right behind them.
Amazing. Okay, I'll probably stay at the truck stop then, save some money, and then come over for the sunrise.
You got it.
Cool.
All right. Well.
As you saw for yourselves in that police body camera video, Chelsea seemed more than just upset. She appeared in a state of total, uncontrollable hyperemotion. Her tears, her shaking voice, it all sets an incredibly anxious, dark tone for what happens next. You know the scariest part here? That same day, September 28th, when the officer recorded that footage, became the final day the world saw any digital activity from Chelsea Grim. Think about that. After this meeting, silence. No credit card transactions, no calls, no messages. Her digital heart simply stopped beating. However, the story doesn't end there. It gets even more tangled. 2 days after that emotional breakdown, Chelsea apparently had a brief meeting with a woodcutter in the town of Ash Fork, Arizona. Right here, we run into a complete contradiction. According to this woodcutter, Chelsea looked absolutely normal. She didn't seem hysterical, didn't look like she was in trouble. She even politely, calmly refused his offer of help. Her behavior, her body language, everything screamed she sounded physically healthy, in control of the situation. To him, it didn't raise a red flag, just a woman in a car. But for us, knowing the ending, this contrast between the hysterical woman, then the calm driver, only adds fog. Was it the calm before the storm, or a mask? Then, this slowly unfolding mystery took a sharp, very dark turn. It happened just a few days later, October 5th. That's when they found Chelsea's car. A white 2019 Ford Escape sat abandoned in the middle of the Kaibab National Forest. It wasn't just a parked car. It had 2 flat tires. 2. This stops looking like an accident, instead looking like a trap or catastrophic bad luck. At that moment, everything opened up, becoming real, because everyone realized she wasn't just camping somewhere, not just out of range enjoying nature. Her vehicle sat disabled in the wilderness. Even more than that, what remained inside the car, but more importantly, what was not there, made the situation even more suspicious. This discovery became the final straw for her parents, who immediately filed a missing persons report. Their anxiety level regarding her safety skyrocketed. Let's break down the disappearance inventory because this feels critically important. Although they found the car locked, Chelsea took a very specific set of items with her. Wallet, phone, sleeping bag, most importantly, Roxy, her beloved bearded dragon. What does this tell us? It suggests she voluntarily left the car. It doesn't look like an abduction where someone gets dragged out by force, things flying everywhere. No, signs of purpose exist here. She was going somewhere. She had a plan, even if perhaps a desperate one. She took the sleeping bag, meaning she prepared for an overnight stay or a long trek. She took Roxy, meaning she didn't intend to leave a friend behind. She took the wallet, meaning she planned to return to civilization where money matters. She went somewhere where she knew she would need shelter, finances. It looked like a self-rescue mission. However, among the items left in the car, one piece of evidence just doesn't fit this logic. Her camera. It wasn't just a point and shoot. Chelsea worked as a photographer. She constantly used this camera. She took pictures with it on the road, near the memorial, capturing moments. They even found a selfie taken right before her disappearance. This serves as the last visual proof of her life. So the question arises, why did she leave it? That starts to seem a bit strange, right? Her father put forward a theory that maybe someone gave her a ride. He suggested a chance exists she caught a lift. That's why she left nothing vital, but decided not to take the camera. A heavy object that won't help survival. The logic goes like this. She took her stuff with her. She left the camera, maybe because she didn't think she would need it right now. Perhaps she thought of this as a short trip for help, which we will talk about more in a minute. But judging by everything, something here doesn't quite add up. A photographer leaves her tool? That's like a writer leaving their manuscript. Another key point involves the phone, the credit card. I mentioned them, but let's clarify. Chelsea's family says her mobile phone stayed off since September 28th or 29th, meaning it died days before they found her car on October 5th. This represents a huge hole in time. Where did she stay these days? Chelsea's family, of course, remains deeply concerned, but they cling to any hope, especially regarding Roxy. Their bond with animals felt strong. Her dedication to ensuring this lizard's well-being stood unshakable. Relatives say Chelsea always held a special place in her heart for the most vulnerable. Children, the elderly, animals. They feel 100% sure she would never, under any circumstances, leave an animal in a hot car in the desert. She simply couldn't do that. So for them, Roxy's absence in the car serves as, surprisingly, a hopeful sign. It implies that at the moment of leaving the car, Chelsea thought rationally, caring for another life. She took Roxy with her wherever she went. At the start, I mentioned a lot of speculation regarding Chelsea's mental health, its role in all of this. Unfortunately, ignoring this remains impossible. Some suggest the root of the problem lies not in the forest, but much closer to home. Friends started sharing details that make you think. Chelsea's behavior before leaving San Diego seemed, to put it mildly, unusual. She called some of them very late at night. When she called, she wasn't just chatty, she felt very upset. They sensed this wasn't the Chelsea they knew. What about social media? That's a separate story. Friends reported her activity there seemed very strange in the days leading up to her departure. She didn't post photos of coffee or landscapes. She published many photos of very intense, heavy Bible verses. This looked nothing like her usual behavior. Moreover, she didn't just post them. She highlighted several lines on all these pages, even made handwritten comments right in the margins. It looked like an obsession, like an attempt to find hidden meaning. Many assume this actually could have been a prelude to a severe episode of distress. Her father also honestly acknowledged this fact. He said her general behavior lately had been somewhat unusual. Quote, "She seemed pretty uneven in the last day or two." Here, we add another layer of drama. She felt upset about a guy she was seeing. This wasn't just a fight. Parents say she was afraid of him. It seemed to us she was running away from him. Those are strong words, running away from him. I think generally, this fear significantly influenced her thinking. Chelsea's sister, Sarah McCarthy Grimm, poured oil on the fire, warning Facebook followers that Chelsea's ex-boyfriend poses as her fiancé. Also that he, apparently, created a fake GoFundMe, allegedly to help with the search. But in reality, who knows? So obviously, very serious red flags exist in this direction.
Does this mean he bears the blame for her disappearance or somehow physically involved in all this? Of course not. We can't claim that. But this, without a doubt, affected her general mental state. Fear of being followed could have pushed her onto the road. Let's return to the physical evidence. Her car, found on a forest road. Unfortunately, in no official report did I find exact information on how far from the main highway this happened. It matters, but we don't know. However, let's use logic. If she had 2 flat tires, which effectively immobilized the car, maybe a dead mobile phone or total lack of signal in this area, Kaibab Forest counts as wilderness, I think we can safely assume she would have to walk. She needed to find help. Even if she had a spare, she's alone. But 2 tires punctured? Even if she knew how to change a tire, the math doesn't work in her favor. But if she drove off the beaten path, no transport there, it's not a busy highway. She has to walk, right? If so, a scary question arises. Could someone have intercepted her during this walk? Since this wasn't a crowded road, the thought that another car accidentally hit her, then the driver hid the body, just doesn't seem too plausible. Traffic there remains minimal. However, looking at what she took, wallet, phone, Roxy, it screams one thing to me. She acted intentionally. She tried to get somewhere safe. She took a sleeping bag, knowing she would have to walk a long time. Maybe she understood that the nearest gas station, cafe, or repair shop lay dozens of miles away. Or she just needed a payphone to call. So perhaps the sleeping bag acted as her insurance. She knew it would be a long walk, that she might need a break to sleep a few hours or warm up at night when the desert temperature drops. Could someone have come face to face with her during this trek? Could this have been foul play? Here's what haunts me, the camera. It constantly catches my eye that she left her camera, which, as we know, she regularly used. I'm just trying to put myself in her shoes. Forget for a minute about mental health theories. Imagine, you are on the roadside, forest, silence. You have 2 flat tires. Phone has no signal. You have to walk. You need a tow truck, service, help. What do you take? You take the phone, hoping a bar of signal appears somewhere on a hill. You take the wallet, because you have to pay for the tow truck, or you'll have to ask someone to call. Also, of course, if you have a living creature, a friend, you take him with you. But you don't take everything. If I plan to return to the car as soon as I find help, I take only a survival kit. I don't drag a heavy DSLR camera with me. Why? It won't help me on the road. I leave it in the car, lock the doors. As reported, the car was locked. This led police to believe no struggle or attack happened near the car. If you go for help, you lock the car, right? You leave your valuables there, like the camera, but you have a firm intention to return for them. So this, again, just serves as my personal opinion, but it explains the camera paradox. She wasn't running away forever, she went to come back. Yet another question exists, one I still can't fully come to terms with. Maybe this question, did that emotional state where the police found her, crying, talking about photographing fallen soldiers, have some deeper connection with those Bible verses? She focused on themes of death, faith, suffering. Could the stress of the breakdown have become a trigger? Or did something about death, the Bible, all this just press on her emotional state, breaking her reality? If she truly started falling into a severe episode, these factors could have become the perfect storm. I mean, the truth remains that none of us know for sure. However, that explains exactly why we talk about this, doesn't it? We discuss ideas so that hopefully someone out there recalls a detail, someone saw something, someone heard something, maybe a clue will appear. We all just speak out loud, sharing our thoughts, trying not to let this story fade away. Fearing the worst, Chelsea's family took a decisive step. They turned to the services of a private investigator. They wanted to supplement the police search efforts. They immediately said, this doesn't happen because they lack trust in the cops. No, they simply want more eyes, more resources, more chances. Now, I'll say this. It feels like a very strange detail. Reports claimed investigators, along with the family, decided to bring in an organization dedicated to fighting human trafficking to conduct further searches. I heard this, saw it on the news, though personally I haven't had the chance to verify the documents. Why specifically trafficking though? Because of this detail, speculation exploded on various online forums. People link it to the euros, remember? She wanted to pay with euros at the hotel. If this organization participates, it could be connected to that money. Where did it come from for a girl driving from California to Connecticut? Why was it used? This adds an unexpected international element to the case. A potential link to trafficking or international organized crime? It sounds like a movie, but in real life, it terrifies you. Again, at this moment, this remains purely speculation. However, as I mentioned, I'm just trying to share everything I gathered, all the theories, no matter how strange they seem, to start a dialogue. One thing seems clear. This case is full of unexpected turns that really make you scratch your head, make you think. So with that in mind, I want to dive deeper into some questions along with potential theories that many of you wrote to me about, starting with those same euros I just mentioned. Euros in Arizona. Many ask the question, why would Chelsea, traveling a domestic route, have foreign currency with her? It stands as a riddle inside a riddle. Right here, a question arises not only about why she wanted to use euros in that specific hotel situation, but also where she got them in the first place. Also, more importantly, why did she carry them with her? Let's face the truth. Euros in Arizona serve as just colored paper. You can't buy gas at a Chevron station with them. You can't buy chips at a roadside store. Plus, as we already saw, you can't pay for a motel room with them. So if they hold no practical value for travel across the US, their presence might mean something much bigger exists in this story than meets the eye. Did this serve as some sort of plan B? Did she plan an escape somewhere much further than Connecticut? Or perhaps this money stood as some symbol for her, a talisman, part of that new reality she built in her head. We know she met up with a friend in Phoenix. Unfortunately though, very few details exist about this friend. I'm not trying to blame anyone or spread baseless theories, but for me as a researcher, this just bothers me. Tell me if I'm wrong, or if you saw this information somewhere. Did this friend come from the United States? Or perhaps did she arrive from Europe? Could Chelsea have received this money from her the day before? I'm not saying this happened for some terrible criminal reasons. Maybe it was just a gift, a debt, a souvenir. However, if we find the source of this money, we might understand Chelsea's state of mind. Because if she specifically exchanged dollars for euros before the trip, that points to one thing: planning an escape. Yet if she just accidentally had them in her pocket, that means something totally different. Now let's move to her comment about surviving off the grid. This phrase sounds romantic until you face reality. Over 2 months have passed. Technically, she remains off the grid. However, one nuance exists that makes this survival theory almost impossible: the bearded dragon. Let's talk biology. Surviving in the wild feels hard for a human. Surviving in the wild with a tropical reptile? That sounds like fantasy. Roxy isn't a dog that can eat whatever she finds, then sleep by a fire. Bearded dragons need heat, lamps, ultraviolet light, specific protein, crickets, worms, fresh vegetables too. How could Chelsea provide this for 2 months without entering stores, without electricity, living in a forest or desert? This question causes me the most surprise. Carrying a lizard for a month, 2 months, without visible access to resources? This either testifies to incredible ingenuity, or it suggests the period of survival lasted a very short time. Unfortunately, they never found Roxy, so we don't know the finale of this part of the story.
However, the very fact she took Roxy forces many to look for hidden meaning. Why specifically the lizard? Why did she become a priority? Did Chelsea intend simply to walk to the nearest town, fix the car, then continue the journey, as I assumed earlier? In that case, taking the pet seems logical. You wouldn't leave it in a scorching tin can. Or did this come as an impulsive decision of a broken psyche? Let's imagine she suffers a severe episode of distress. She stands on the edge. She grabs what feels emotionally most important to her. Roxy represents a living being she loves. The camera remains just a thing. Perhaps at that moment, her priorities shifted radically. I know her family insists. She loved animals. She never would have abandoned Roxy. I believe them. However, I'm not a professional investigator. I'm just a person trying to put this puzzle together using logic. My logic screams one thing. The fact she left the camera serves as the key to solving her intentions. I don't think some insidious conspiracy lies behind this. I don't think the camera served as evidence needing destruction. Not at all. I feel convinced she planned to return. Think about it. You walk into the unknown. You take a wallet to pay for help. You take a phone, even dead, as hope. You take a friend, Roxy. You take a sleeping bag, insurance against cold. But you leave the heavy, bulky camera, then you lock the car. This looks like the action of a person saying to herself, I will come back here in a few hours with a tow truck. Could she have instantly disappeared after that? Yes. Could she have stopped somewhere, put things down, then accidentally forgotten something? Maybe. Why not accidentally leave the sleeping bag though? Why not forget the wallet? Something in this sequence of actions holds me, won't let go. Maybe I'm putting too much of my own experience into this, but that's my intuition. As a 36-year-old woman, looking at the actions of a 32-year-old woman, I feel it. She went for help. She didn't go to pass away. She didn't go to start a new life in Mexico on foot. Let's consider other theories you guys sent in. One of the most popular, runs she running from someone? Chelsea's disappearance really makes you wonder if her exit from the grid represents a deliberate attempt to hide. We heard concerns about the ex-boyfriend, the one who, according to the family, caused her fear. Also, hints appeared about bad company. Some sources claim her friends might have been involved with high-risk lifestyle choices involving substances. It feels important to clarify, this doesn't mean Chelsea suffered from addiction. But if you move in circles where drugs or crime exist, you might witness something you shouldn't have seen. Or you might feel a threat we, ordinary people, can't even imagine. Could she have been running from these friends? Or from the boyfriend? What could push her to such a radical step as abandoning a car in the woods? Here, that strange detail about the name change comes into play. Remember the hotel video? She mentioned the possibility of changing her name. Back then, it seemed like nonsense. Now, in the context of the escape theory, it looks like a plan. What motive stands behind the desire to erase one's identity? Does this stem from paranoia caused by illness, or a real threat to life, from which the only salvation becomes being someone else? We can all agree the emotional background of this story feels extremely disturbing. Chelsea's state remained unstable. The breakup, fear, weird biblical fixation, all this created an explosive cocktail. Did these emotions lead her into that forest? Did they force her to make decisions that look irrational to us? Or did an external factor exist, a person she met on the road? These questions turn Chelsea Grim's disappearance into a labyrinth without an exit. It feels hard not to think about her, about where she might be right now, whether she stays safe. Although the exact reasons for her dissolving into thin air remain a mystery, this very mix of emotional vulnerability, along with logical, from her perspective, actions continues to confuse everyone. Her family, friends, police, everyone lives in a state of painful uncertainty. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. From Chelsea, not a single word. This represents silence that kills hope. However, they don't give up. The search for answers continues. Here, you and I can play a decisive role. I said this already, but I'll repeat it again because it feels critically important. Share her photo. Share this video. Tell this story. Why? Because we have a unique visual marker. A woman walking down the road might not get remembered, but a young woman walking down the road with a bearded dragon in her arms, that's something you see once in a lifetime, never forget. That detail doesn't get erased from memory.
If anyone saw her, if anyone saw this lizard, it could become the key that opens the door to the truth, even if it happened 2 months ago. We need to build a timeline. We need a map of her last steps. I'm grateful to you guys for keeping this case in the spotlight. You act as the power here. I hope we find out the truth. I hope they find her. She gets to hug her parents. But for now, we have what we have. I will definitely keep you updated on any news. I tried to gather all facts together, but you know how it goes. The internet community often knows more than official sources. If you have other information, if you heard other theories, if you know something about that friend from Phoenix or about the Euros, please write in the comments. Let's start this conversation. Let's not let the world forget about Chelsea Grim. If this story touched you, subscribe so you don't miss the next case, which will shock you even more. The Bible says, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." Indeed, that rings as a deep truth. Take this story as a reminder. Never make life-changing decisions under the influence of emotions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you feel you are losing control over your own life. Right now, look at the screen. You see the next videos we prepared for you. Believe me, we tried just as hard there as in this video. So if this case seemed tangled to you, the next one will just blow your mind with its details. Therefore, we don't say goodbye. May the Lord bless you. See you there.